Welcome, everyone, to the live edition of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. That's right, it's here, the 90th episode of this podcast that is here for the fans and has been created by fans, of course, by ourselves, but has got to this level by you guys. It's a phenomenal road that we've been on. We're glad that you can join us here live on the show, and it's just crazy that we're being able to speak to you now in the live environment. My name is Turbo Tony. I am the host of this show. I have been all along, but not only that. Not have I only been the host of this show. I haven't done this alone. I've never, ever done this alone. Here especially, I couldn't do the live episode by myself. Are you real? Are you for real? I couldn't do it by myself. I do it with a partner of mine. I call him my partner in crime. And I can tell you here, live on the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, he is the man who leaked all of that Ashley Madison information and exposed all those dirty cheaters. It's Matt Marsander.
I can neither confirm nor deny such statement.
You can't, because I guess it's like a lawsuit, right? Isn't it? A lot of people.
It's a very grey area, like a probably legal grey area.
It's a lot of, I imagine, divorces going on.
I kind of don't want that responsibility to fall on my shoulders of all that Ashley Madison stuff.
Yeah, of course. But Matt, have you found? Thankfully, you haven't found your name on the Ashley Madison.
I'm clear of that.
I'm clear of it as well. I am a good man, And to be honest, I didn't even know what the whole thing was about until obviously this whole thing blew up. But anyway, in regards to that, how are you doing, Matt, this week here on the live episode?
Very good. It's been an interesting build up for this.
Yes,
it's all paying off.
Yeah, one of the crazy things about it is obviously we've had a situation where we've been building up to this for a very long time, and myself, I put in lots of work. I know you, Matt, you've put in lots of work to be able to make this huge thing. It was something that we were going to plan to do for the 100th episode. For anyone also listening to the show, we've got a few big announcements on this show that just kind of incorporates what we're talking about, the general build-up of the show, how things are growing for us. But Matt, I'm going to tell people here as they gradually start flittering in, because I imagine a few of them, getting to that 8 p.m. start date here, that we've got a big show lined up. We've got a very interesting show lined up here on the live format. We've got, like I said, that big announcement in regards to what's going to happen at Let's Talk Wrestling episode 100. That will be happening. We also got our news. We're going to be talking some very interesting news, including the Tough Enough finale, who won the show. We're going to be talking about our thoughts in regards to that and some other, other little news snippets around that as well. We also got an interesting surprise that I brought just for Matt that I could only do on a live show. How about that, Matt? You don't even know. You don't know.
You've got a clue. This is all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and also as well with that, we've got some fan feedback. We've also got some, questions throughout the last couple of weeks. We've had a bit of a jimble jamble last couple of weeks in terms of questions, and with YouTube doing their random stuff in terms of, Google Plus isn't a thing anymore. Oh, it is a thing. No, it isn't a thing anymore. And it's kind of crazy.
What are you? Even I don't know.
It's like a bad thing when YouTube's treating Google Plus like an alien. Like, you don't exist, but you made us think it existed. And all that stuff going on like that. But we do have some questions there from the fans and talking along those lines. And then we've also got our Raw review, which is a very interesting review right after SummerSlam. And there was a few interesting notes that happened throughout this show. And me and Matt will be giving our thoughts in regards to that as well. Also, as well, if you've joined us early, we'd just like to let you know that you can interact with us and ask us questions on the fly. We have our chat section up on the sidebar of the screen there. You should be able to see it there. You leave a question, myself and Matt will get to it at our earliest convenience. I would like to obviously let you guys know that there's about a 20 to 30 second time limit in regards to when you leave that comment, when we will actually be able to talk to it. But basically, when we talk about it, it will take about 30 seconds from what we're saying now to get to you guys. Okay. So if you don't get it straight away, we will get to it. It's just the the lapse of it in regards to that. Matt, if they want to tweet us in regards to how good we're doing this live episode, what is the Twitter handle
You mean the handle of @TalkWrestlePod?
It is the handle of that Talk Wrestle Pod. I tell you what, right, with all the stuff that I'm dealing with at the moment with the live episode, I don't think I could handle that as well. So I appreciate, what you're doing for me there. Taking the burden off me there a little bit. And like I said, you can post up more if you go and follow the official Let's Talk Wrestling Twitter account there @TalkWrestlePod. Then you can find the interesting picture of a face hugger with the words "I'm a hugger," the whole Bailey thing. I honestly laughed out loud when I saw that. So there we go.
You try and dig out that Bailey Taker picture.
Yeah, that
was brilliant.
Yeah, if I had thought of that, I maybe would have found that. So Matt, are you ready for? Do you think they're ready for the announcements on the show?
I think we're set.
I think we're set for the announcements, guys. We do have some big announcements coming along in regards to the Let's Talk Wrestling episode number 100. And I know you're waiting a long time for us to talk wrestling. Don't worry, we'll get there, but we need to get this announcement out. We've been very excited, and basically, this is a way that we can launch. Matt, are they ready for this? I don't know. They have to be. It's a live episode, right? Right.
Uh-huh.
It is time for one of our lucky fans to win the very first Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt. That's right. Myself and Matt will be getting t-shirts, and it'll be the first edition, the first ever Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt. And one of you guys can win the first ever Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt to be sent out to a fan of our show, which is awesome. It's amazing. But here's the thing. You gotta win it, right? You just can't put your hat in. That's not how we do things at Let's Talk Wrestling, right? So we've got this plan that basically what we wanted to do is for you guys to be part of the show. We've been looking for more ways that you guys can be part of the show. And one way that we thought we could do it is that we want you guys to record your best introduction for Let's Talk Wrestling. Okay? So you can imitate a wrestler if you like. You can be yourself, cut a promo on myself and Matt, but it has to introduce the show. It's basically, like I do each week, introducing Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, and get ready. It's the show, it's the wrestling podcast. You make that around about under 30 seconds, I'd say, if you can manage to get it around about that time. And then you can send your submissions to Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. That will be in the description going forward. I will edit that in. And you send that to us, you win it. And like I said, not only do you get the first ever Let's Talk Wrestling t-shirt, but you also then, from episode 100 onwards, will be part of the introduction of our show. So it's a huge thing, right? You get two prizes right there, a way to be on the show and to get the first t-shirt. This is a huge thing. It's one of the biggest things we've ever done for the show, right? Like if you were a fan, Matt, you would be going gaga over this shit, wouldn't you?
I'd take it.
Yeah, you'd be.
How would I not?
Yeah, all right. And if you get if you do something great but you don't win, don't worry. We've got a few other runners-up prizes, a few smaller Let's Talk Wrestling merchandise that is currently in the way of coming out and stuff like that. So lots of awesome stuff. That's not the only thing we're doing for Let's Talk Wrestling 100, but that's the thing that we're plugging tonight. That's the main thing that we're doing tonight in regards to this. The main thing that we want to tell you guys about. And obviously now that gives you 10 weeks to send your big, intros for our show. Go, Paul Heyman the shit out of it. That's what basically we should have named this the Paul Heyman Invitational, right? As
Heyman has like 3 hours of content for Raw, just something like that.
Yeah, you guys have got 30 seconds. If he's got 3 hours of content, you've got 30 seconds, and yeah, I'm sure you do. So yeah, great competition. I'll give you that email address one more time. It is Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. And you can send your any format to there. It doesn't matter as long as it's transferable, and we can watch it there. The other way that you can do it as well, if you make like a YouTube clip of it or something along the lines, link us, we can view it that way as well. But just email it to that email. That way we can have a look at it and we can judge going forward from there. So Matt, with all that stuff aside, all that procrastination, as I like to talk about, are you ready now to finally here live to be talking about some wrestling? God damn it!
I think I'm about ready for it.
You ready to talk about some pro wrestling. Okay.
Let's discuss wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. And the first thing we're going to be talking about there is Tough Enough, which was the the big, the finale happened this week, which was quite a big deal. So Tough Enough.
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the Tough Enough finale?
I haven't. No.
I think you're not the only one. I think a few people have been, thinking along the same lines that it wasn't something that they were particularly enthused about. It wasn't something that they cared, that much for. We've been very critical. Let's just say you and me have been very critical about the show as a whole, right?
Yep.
We said we don't like it. It kind of shows a lot of the flaws in the way they wanted to do it. And there's part of me that is kind of glad that it is over now, so we don't really have to keep bringing it up so much. But you know the winners, right, Matt? You know who won the show.
Yeah.
It's
I know that we've now got Sarah Lee and Josh.
Yeah, they're the winners. We predicted it as so that it would be the case. I mean, you said that maybe it would be along the lines of, Daniel Bryan would probably save one of them, along those lines, which I didn't know whether that may be something that that's a bit of a cop out finish. In real, I'd say finish as if it's a wrestling thing, but they didn't even give him the chance here on this show. So it just went as the cards.
Oh, really? So it's like, oh, you haven't used your save, you can't have your save.
Yeah, that was essentially it. Like you've had your save, like that's it, it's done. That's well, no, you had your chance to do it. Like, as you say that. I thought that the last show was probably the most interesting out of all of the shows that they've done, which it should be. I mean, it's the grand finale, but they had 4 matches, probably 4 of the worst matches you're going to see. But I'm not going to blast these guys about it because they're just. I mean, come on, they're just new to all of this, right?
Josh will go. Well, I'm fine with that.
Out of all the matches, I thought Josh probably had the best. If I'm honest about that.
Although I will take your word for it.
He did look like an underwear model though, because he came out without any pads on and literally just his the fucking pants. You know what I mean? Like he literally looked like, and it was silver as well. It looks like he should be on the front of Hugo Boss rather than a Yeti, right? So I
can't imagine him being a pants wrestler. To be fair,
yeah. No,
they were going to have to see him in trousers at some point.
He looked the best out of all of them, I will say that. Now, I'm sure that obviously there was a huge thing afterwards where if you watch Tough Talk, which I did, getting all prepared for this live episode, that a lot of them after Sarah Lee won were basically saying, you shouldn't have won. It should have been Amanda that should have won. I think the only person pulling for her, and it's the right person pulling for her, was Triple H saying, you've probably got some sort of connection here. Some people go out their whole careers, they have everything but that connection,
Yeah.
But we already explained last week, Matt. The minute Ring Rat came out of her mouth, she was done.
Oh, you referring to Amanda? Yeah.
Amanda. Yeah, she was absolutely like I said. She shot herself in the foot. She killed her own chances. And to be honest, the even though Sarah Lee's match was crap and Amanda's, she showed like a little bit more. The votes never really changed from what they were before. Everyone was still on Sarah Lee. And
to be fair though, it's just like, oh, Sarah Lee's getting all the votes again.
Yeah,
what a shock.
Yeah, but it's just the way it is, right? It's the way that that it's progressed, the way that it's gone along. And like I said, you portray yourself as a bitch. I mean, she just admitted this week apparently that she was portraying herself as a heel. When you know that it's everyone voting you up, that's just stupid right there. That's idiotic, along those lines. But still, about Josh, Matt, right? I think he'll actually do all right. I think he'll go far. I think Josh will, because he's got the look, he's got the build, and he doesn't have to do as much as, let's say, someone the size of like a Patrick or a Tanner would have to if they had one, right? Like, I know you hate this, Matt, but I'm just going to say it now. The bigger you are, the less you have to do. That's just the honesty of it. I know you have to do some stuff that isn't required of a big man.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But it's like, at least, I don't think he's going to get dumped with big man moveset.
No, I think, and I would be a little bit disappointed if literally 5 years down the line and he's still involved with them, that's all he has. The side slam, the choke slam,
the big boots,
the big boot, the slap, basically Big Show's moveset, which, there's a reason why people have copied basically Big Show, and Big Show copied other people, but it's because it's just the norm, right? And Big Show does some other stuff outside that as well. But I would be a little bit disappointed if that's all he has going down the line. Here's my question, though. Do you think Sarah Lee will be with the company more than, fuck it, I'll say a year? That's the tangible.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Possibly. I'm not going to flat out and say no, she'll be gone. But it's a tough one because she needs that time to prove herself, and at least, well, obviously she's had 10 weeks to try and prove herself, but the crowd love Sarah Lee. I wouldn't flat out. I'm not going to turn around and say, yeah, come this time next year, gone. Who's Sarah Lee? I think she'll stick. It'll be that one moment where it's like, cool, you're here. And if she's going to be around it for a solid year, I think there's no reason why she can't improve.
Yeah.
And hell, they're at the Performance Center.
Here's the thing, and I disagree, right? I like Sarah Lee. That's a person, she seems like a girl that I'd probably get on with, right? But here's the thing, whenever I look at her, she just looks to me like someone who just doesn't really understand what wrestling is. Like she doesn't really know. Like it hasn't clicked the way that it had with Amanda, right? Like Amanda kind of gets it. She kind of gets the whole character basis. Sarah Lee, I find that it's going to take a year for her even to start grasping what most people coming into the business with a drive beforehand already know.
Yeah.
Watching the show. So I think WWE will look at her in a year's time. Yeah, maybe she will have improved. But when you're looking, especially now, I mean, come on, especially the way it is now, you have to be spectacular as a woman to even get, to go into the NXT arena and to come across like you're something good, right?
Yeah.
Eva Marie gets away with it because she's a model, right? She was a model before she came to WWE, and she got away. She's like a special thing. Dana Brooke, I get the feeling like she has way more potential than I think Sarah Lee does, right? And I've been critical of Dana Brooke, right? I don't know. Like I said, I like this woman, but I don't think she's gonna get it, and I think she'll annoy more people in that company than she did just on this show, and that's my honest opinion. And maybe she'll think down the line, this isn't for me, I don't think this show has given them that come to Jesus meeting that we always talk about, that you have a lot on these shows where you pretty quickly decide whether you want this or not. I don't think Tough Enough gave that to these people. I think once they get in the Performance Center and they're taking bumps for hours upon hours upon hours, getting better, that's when they'll think, really, do I really want to do this? When they travel, right, and go to all these places and have to travel, near on 300 days a year, then they'll decide. But by then it'll be too late. I don't know. I'm not as confident myself about Sarah Lee, but Josh, fair enough. I think that he can do great. I just think that, especially now with this era of excellence in NXT, in terms of the women, she's going to get exposed if she's even she's going to take. I mean, they were talking about where you're going to be in a year's time. She's going to take near on 3-4 years before she's even worthy of having a match on NXT. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, maybe.
I mean, hopefully she proves me wrong, but I'm pretty sure of this. I know it's quite damning, and it's nothing towards her. I just think that some people just don't get it. And hello, subscriber 241. Thanks for joining along with the show. I still laugh about the fact that I thought you were subscriber 241 for us, but still, that's fun. So, yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about Tough Enough? I mean, it's done. I don't think USA are going to pick this up again. I think they would be like, "Nah, we washed our hands."
I think we've had enough of sort of Jericho blowing smoke up its ass, just going, "Hey, it's the greatest TV show ever." It's really not, Chris. But
no, it's not at all.
I admire your enthusiasm.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that. And the next person that we're going to be talking about is this man that's just popped up on your screen. And that would be a certain homicidal, genocidal,
suicidal,
I don't
Was
know.
it
Like...
homicidal? I suppose
You-
homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, the Great Sabu.
Well, you would know. You're the ECW fan, right? So it's along those lines. Now, the reason why we're bringing this man up is because some unfortunate news.
He likes to play with poop.
Apparently, blood. Apparently,
So terrible. Well, we knew that.
Yeah. Which maybe blood and poop at the same time is even beyond Sabu's normalcy, shall we say? Now, it's a shame when we bring up stories like this. People have no idea, probably thinking, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" Like, basically, what happened is that obviously Sabu's been working in a lot of indies. He's not involved in any of the big corporations anymore. Maybe I don't know if he's been involved in the hardcore heaven that Tommy Dreamer and the like have been.
I don't believe so.
Maybe he's been on one or two. I don't know, right? But that's the way it is. But he is working around around the country, and there unfortunately came out this story, and essentially what it is that when these guys big names, right? You consider Sabu a big name in independence, right? You can draw some
easily.
Some like or money throughout that name. People would want to see him, right? Not many. I'm not talking about thousands, but maybe 100, right? And that'll give you some money.
People
right?
will want Sabu.
Yeah, right. And you'd be, a draw for a small time, So what do you do when you sign this guy? Is that as a promoter, as an owner of that small time, wrestling organization, is that you would tell Sabu, okay, I'm going to pay you X amount. You come to our show, but because obviously the way it is, we'll also cover your hotel expenses. Sometimes they'll cover your travel, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, the promotion that he was due to work for did cover his hotel expenses. And unfortunately, they got a bizarre call from the hotel, talking about a particular incident involving, where Sabu was. There was something talking about, there was blood and dog feces in his hotel room. I mean, this is really odd, right? I don't even want to know. I haven't got the dirty. I mean, I've got a dirty mind. I don't have a filthy mind enough and the creativity to think what fucking happened in that room. Right?
Well, it's the fact that it was, what was it? Blood, dog feces. Like there was, like loads of paraphernalia, so drugs.
Yeah, right.
And it's just crazy. It's just like the what?
That is bong. I don't even like I said, I don't even want to know, right?
Yeah.
And obviously this is awful because basically all those extra expenses for cleaning the room would normally go on someone's credit card. Guess what? Credit card doesn't work, so it goes down to the person who initially booked the room, which was the promoter. So the promoter had to pay out of his arsehole to get all of this shit sorted out, right? Literally all of this shit sorted out, right? And unfortunately,
it was like, oh, we've got to charge you an extra $250 for smoking damage. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god, what the hell's happened?
Right? It's disgusting, right? This is no way getting around it. But the one thing I was saying, right, and this isn't any sort of defense to Sabu, but we hear a lot of these stuff. I mean, fucking, they made a awesome movie about it. The Wrestler, right, was a movie about a guy whose body probably aches every day. He's past his heyday, emotionally broken over the years of traveling and wrestling. And you come to a point with all that stuff building up that some wrestlers, especially legends, past their prime and going along this sort of thing, they don't really care about the repercussions of their actions. As long as they can get booking to get to the next place, they don't really give a shit, right? And that's the only sort of, I mean, it's not a defense, but it's a way of looking at it that maybe will make you look at it a different way. But I mean, this is completely bizarre, and hopefully promoters will look at this and give Sabu a bit of time. And fucking hell, like, don't ask him what happened in that room. No one needs to know, right?
That's it. I can go without knowing.
Yeah, right. No one needs to go on like on an expedition or a fucking investigation and figure out what happened in there. I'm fine. Some things you don't need to know.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line of it.
This can forever be one of those things that we'll leave in the dark depths of wrestling history.
Yeah, right. How about you, Matt? You're a big ECW fan. I've seen your DVDs. You know a lot about ECW, far more than I ever did. Right, and never do. Are you a bit sad about this? Does it? I mean, Sabu's, a guy that you liked, especially back in the ECW days.
Gotta be a bit upset about it, but I can't say I'm shocked.
Yeah, it's not something that...
Brutally honest.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. Well, especially considering when I mentioned this news story to you, you were like, "Oh, it's a bit odd," but I can't say I'm shocked because it's Sabu. It's like, that's too true, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, come on, yeah, with someone with his track record, like I said, get creative, come up with something, but just don't fucking tell us. Like, we don't want to know. Anything else you want to talk about with Sabu? Someone's beeping outside my house. Wankers. They don't know it's Let's Talk Wrestling Live. God damn it!
No, I can't think of anything else. I'd rather just leave it.
No problem. Do you know whose birthday it was this week?
A certain Vinny.
It was Vinny Mac. There's
Vinny Mac.
You can see it right there on the screen. Very shocked.
In the great shocked face.
That's it. 70 years of age is our Vinny Mac, as we do like to call him, or the Vinny Mac attack, as we said on one episode. And I thought I'd bring this up because he's the most powerful man in professional wrestling for at very least 20 years at the very least. That's the bottom line of it there. But I think the part about this that really a lot of people maybe would be talking about this is that the whole he's out of touch thing, and how in touch can you be when you're 70. I think I can't remember who said it. It was a podcast I was listening to, and it was someone just genuinely saying, look, I'm old. There's no way for me to be in touch with people, with the kids of today, the main people, the main demographic. When you get old, you get old. That's just the way it is. I talk to, my niece-in-law now, who's, fucking hell, she ain't that, she's about 10 years younger than me. And I can barely understand half the shit she's on about, right? So if you're 70, how can you really understand? Right? And there is a part of that, right? But Vince, that no matter what happens, like, all the talk of him retiring due to his age can come around. Matt, you and me know he's not going to retire until he's physically declared incapable of doing the job.
Oh, yeah. I think there's no two ways about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I say physically incapable. It might be, you might say mentally incapable, but the guy is bonkers. We know that already. Like, it's no difference there. It's how he got to where he was, right, as the #1 wrestling show in the world, right? I personally, Matt, I mean, I'm going to say it right here. I think he's past his prime. I've said before that I think he's booking 80s style wrestling in the 2015 infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that's the way I deem it happening. And that's the part of the reason why we're getting a lot of stuff there now. I mean, when I rattled off a lot of those names back in that Saturday morning cartoon era, just before the huge wrestling boom, which was 97, the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, right? Is, you go through all those shitty gimmicks, and yet we talk about it now. We've got like the Los Matadors or the El Torito, and it's like, you're not that far away.
Yeah, it's nearly back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Be careful with that.
I mean, exactly. I mean, it's you can, like I said, you can look at one, look at the other. You put Los Matadors back then, they'll fit right in, and that's scary, right?
Yeah.
You put Mantor now, he wouldn't look like, people would laugh and fucking go, "What the fuck's going on here?" But really, is it that rare of a possibility of like Vince doing that now? It's
like the worst part is you joke about Mantor, but we'd probably get like Cole trying to sell us the fact that Mantor is actually El Torito's like dad or older brother.
Yeah. And they form like a father-son connection, and it's really heartwarming.
That's it.
Yeah. And then here's the thing, and they have a tag team match against Finley and Hornswoggle.
Oh
shit!
Booking heaven.
That's literally WrestleMania main event worthy right there. Right?
That's shit right there.
Mantor El Torito against Finley and Hornswoggle. That's the shit, right? That's the stuff.
That's the stuff we need.
Oh god! I sincerely hope. I'm glad that Vince Russo isn't booking in WWE, because that shit would get booked literally straight away, and it would be for the tag team championships. Of
course.
Yeah, of course it'd be for the tag.
I would expect nothing less.
I still laugh that kayfabe news article about Russo making a golden Labrador retriever the US champion. It's just like, what? But it's something like so out of the real possibility. But under that era, WCW during that time, whether it be Bischoff or Russo, it probably might have happened. So happy birthday, Vince. I'm not going to take anything away from him. You know, he is a name that will last long in the wrestling business for a very long time. But maybe it's time for him to start thinking. He won't, but it is time for him to start thinking. Maybe I'm just out of touch, just a little bit, right?
A teeny tiny little bit.
Just a teeny tiny little bit there. All right, Matt. That's all the news there for this week. Do you have any?
I have a little bit.
Oh, wow.
It's a bit shocking.
Okay.
To be fair.
Not as shocking as Sabu stuff, but carry on.
Okay, maybe not that shocking.
Yeah, maybe not that shocking. Yeah.
I'm quite impressed because the tickets for the UK NXT tour went on sale.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Awesome.
Pre-sale was on like the 26th or something.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Obviously, I would then pursue maybe getting a ticket.
Yeah, you know.
Yep. 9 a.m. is when they went live. By 9:05, gone.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was one of those things where it's just like, oh, guess what? Ticketmaster doesn't have them anymore. But why not have a look at this other page called Get Me In, a sister company of Ticketmaster?
I know that sort of shit.
Yeah. But it's tough. I can completely understand it though, because especially in Wembley, it's going to be Takeover. Takeover in the UK.
I have absolutely no idea how someone with our tag has put up Good Guys NXT so far. So I don't feel we're seeing it live in December. How did I send that? I think that's derping out of it. I have absolutely no clue.
I don't know. Yeah. Who else has access to this? I think you might have to quickly go and just check, like, your other half's not on it.
Just like sending us random questions.
It's like true. Well,
first of all, we're not viewing it in December, so there is that. We're not seeing it live in December, so there is that. But still, funny anyway. No need to go further. Subscriber 24. So Matt, yeah, with that as well, there is ways obviously to go into you know the whole NXT thing. Obviously, you know now, especially now with the big thing of NXT Brooklyn, that the NXT brand is again, it's hot. You know, it's like it's huge again. I mean, it's always been hot, but it had started dying down once it had, like, I'm not gonna lie, like the weekly shows for a long time were a little bit lax. I'm just gonna say, but it was still great. But I think that with, you know, it was good of them obviously to announce this at Brooklyn Takeover because people are in a frenzy, right? NXT Takeover Brooklyn was amazing. They're like flooding to try and see more, and so yeah, it goes along. It goes along with that there. So you got any other news to jump up on me then?
No, I don't think I do actually.
Okay.
I can't say I found much. It's been quite a quiet week.
Well, yeah. Apart from, like I said, apart from shit and blood in a hotel room.
That is very true. I'm trying to think if there was anything else because we did record quite early last week.
Well, you think of that, Matt. I have my special surprise.
Your surprise?
I do. So, here's the thing. Did you know that there has been a game created about John Cena?
I think I know exactly what game you're on about.
I wonder.
I think I heard it on a recent gaming channel.
All right. I think that a few people may not. I think some of them do. I wanted to bring this up because I found this over the last couple of weeks. And Matt, I'm going to bring it up right about. Bear with me. Right about now. And this is
Yes.
Oh, subscribe to it's John Cena's sexy high school adventure. This exists. Oh yes.
No.
Oh dear. I have absolutely no idea what to make of this. Is it popped up there on the screen yet? I think it's coming up on there soon.
It has, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. Right, so I'm gonna go through some of this. I don't know why it's freaking out there on the thing, but still, what's going on here? Is it okay for you? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit here of John Cena's sexy high school adventure,
Ugh.
and
I've seen some terrible still images.
yeah, and we're gonna see what the fuck this is all about. So let's start the game. Have you played the game before? No. Oh, and it sucks I have to move school. All my friends were bullying me. Don't worry, I'm not playing this forever, by the way. There's only so much I can take. Wait, was it? But at least I can hope I can make much more friends at Cena High. Huh? Nobody's here. Oh, you've got a voice, John Cena. You got to do it. Go on.
I just think I'm so far behind.
Oh, you are, of course. Okay, I'll do all of it.
All I think is just like I gotta make some friends at Cena High. Whoa, blah, 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 blah.
So yeah, hey there, it's me, John Cena. Okay, here we go. We've got a question. We could answer that while before we go further. Mr. Jordan, FWC, how do you guys fix the Divas Revolution? Obviously, the crowd doesn't care at this point. We're actually going to get to that in a little bit, but my general consensus is that I would more than likely go along the lines of, at the moment, there's nothing for these women to fight for. You know, they're in teams. If they win, so what? They need to draw far more emphasis on the title and making number one contenders for that belt. At the moment, they're kind of doing a thing where they want to kind of make everyone forget about the championship so they can let Nikki have her thing, right?
Well, that's it. It's just sort of like, oh, they're talking about something else. They're talking about who's the better team. But don't forget, Nikki's like 27 days away from beating AJ's record because fuck Phil Brooks and AJ Lee.
Isn't it?
You don't like them.
It is, right? So the minute that they start putting more emphasis on like that belt being prestigious and worth these women.
I mean, it's kind of difficult for the Divas Revolution because I think Paige actually tweeted out about, oh, it's such a problem because why, like, you're all stuck in, you want to change, but you're all stuck in your own mindset sort of thing. It's like, true, but last night I saw Bayley versus Sasha Banks. And that was 10 times better than what you're using, than what you're bringing into the.
Okay, there's another question here. I'm going to get to some of these as we go along. We'll space them out. But can Matt microwave a burrito so hot that Turbo Tony couldn't eat it?
Damn straight.
You think you could?
Yeah, I don't think you could eat it.
Shit. Okay. Okay. And can jet fuel melt steel beams? I don't know.
I am not getting into conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
With 241.
We're not the quite one. I'll answer your other question in a bit there, Mr. Jordan, as well. Okay. So Cena is here. Hey there, it's me, John Cena. Whoa, you scared me. Well, it is John Cena. He's quite scary. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't know you were the new kid. I heard this is a dating simulator, right?
I fucking hope not. All I've heard is that every person is Cena in some terrible fashion.
Thank you. Where should I go? You should probably meet the teach, Mr. Cena. Or you can hang out with me and the gang. Okay, I'll think about it. Awesome later. Oh, shoot. What should I do? Let's go see Mr. Cena. We won't be doing this for too long, guys. I should really meet the new teacher. Is anyone there? I'm here. It's Mr. Cena! All right, I think I've hit my limit already. Maybe we need to do like a let's play. You know?
Let's play this.
Yeah, exactly. So you say Oh, I'm reaching my limit. I'm reaching my limit already. I've seen too much John Cena, and I didn't want to last this too long.
Oh
But
God.
who in their right mind made this game? Like, this is fucking crazy. I have no clue. And apparently, there's a number 2 as well. If we get enough to it, guys, just demand Matt do a let's play of this. Just demand that he do it.
No.
Yeah, we have to. We have to.
No.
All right, guys, let's move on from John Cena's sexy high school adventure, and we will move back into where we're going here. Let me just put up the thing for us there. So we're going into our question time here, guys, by the way. So if you do want to interrupt us or any questions, like I said, you can. We're going into some of the questions that have been left by the fans going forward. There you go. And John Cena should be away from your screen anytime soon, so don't worry too much about that.
It's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Mr. Cena can't hurt us anymore. You know, that's the bottom line of it there. Okay, so let's get to some of the questions.
Was Jesus the greatest promo of all time?
Well, it's lasted this long. There is that. And that is quite a good promo.
Yeah.
People made books about his promos. Jeez.
Promos are legendary and have gone on for years.
Yeah, exactly, right? And also the other question there as well, is Seth Rollins new Shawn Michaels? He's the closest thing we're going to get to Shawn Michaels in this generation, I'm quite sure.
Unless he wants to be Ziggler, because then, well, unless Ziggler's the new Michaels, considering he's super kicking everyone at the moment.
The reason I say Seth Rollins though is because, like, you know, I think in terms of his impact, you know, he is looking to me, and some of the stuff he can do in the ring, he can outperform almost anyone there at the moment.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, you know, yeah, it's not the Heartbreak Kid, but Shawn Michaels, the man, and what he could do. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between there and a certain Seth Rollins. I've got absolutely no,
there's no problem with that at all.
No changing with that. So we're going to get to some of the questions here as we go along, and I'm getting a thing from my wife here. I'm going to NXT. Do you want to explain what this is all about?
We got you tickets.
Who got you tickets? Really? Do you know about this, Matt?
I have no idea about this.
Apparently, we're going to NXT. Our significant others have bought us tickets. Is this Is this London? Mm-hmm. You're fucking kidding.
You're going.
We're going to fucking NXT. That was you earlier on, was it? Oh, he was like, you signed in upstairs. Oh my goodness, we are associated with some fine women, I will say.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, that's pretty damn awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Well, that's a bit crazy. I was not expecting that. Oh wow. Okay, so we're going to NXT.
LTW's at Takeover.
NXT. LTW will be a takeover with our new shirts, by the way. That would be awesome. Wow, that's crazy. I'm trying to compose myself now. Thank you, my wife. Jesus. And yeah, one of our friends, Morgan, can apparently confirm this. Apparently he was involved. So yeah, and Craig apparently. So thank you all, guys, and all of our fans have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on with that. Let's get on with the podcast, because I think I'm gonna fucking go mental at this point. So let's get on with that.
I have one thing to say: Enzo and Cass had better still be there, because I have a T-shirt on its way.
You need to get. We're gonna buy so much fucking merchandise. I'm gonna get bankrupt with that much of merch. So, all right, we need to carry on here, Matt. We need to contain ourselves. We've got some questions to answer. We've got a podcast to do. So. Mr. Gav MZ made a comment last week about us talking about Finn Balor, and well, I'm not sure if it was last week. It was in the last couple of weeks, but asking
recently,
yeah, basically saying, you know, is he content in NXT, considering how, you know, basically we were talking about him being content in NXT. I think the statement was in regards to, you know, how new talent is poorly handled on the main roster. Yeah, just to kind of elaborate on what we said there and to kind of say along the lines, I think the way that Finn Balor looks at it is that NXT can be his brand, right? He can be like one of the guys driving it forward. But at the end of the day, if Vince wants to call him up, he's called up. That's not down to him, right? So there's only so long, you know, that can really go along with that there. But it could be a thing. Here's the thing, right? Sometimes people have like have an innate ambition, right, to be the next Stone Cold, Rock, John Cena. Some people, they get in. I get the idea that someone like Dolph Ziggler, yeah, he has an ambition that he wants to be that top dog, right? Whether or not he's willing to step on someone's toes to get there is something different, right? But some of the people, especially NXT, probably have that ambition as well. But the question that they have to ask themselves is it worth the risk? If you're an NXT, right, I think it's a 1 in 100 risk to try and become a household name. That's 1%, right? And obviously that's a little bit different depending on who you are. But every rising NXT star is going to have to ask themselves that exact question, right? Am I going to try and become the next big name? Like, they've been saying a lot of stuff, in regards to having statues and stuff made of you, the Mount Rushmore of WWE. Are you going to try and make that big step to try and become on the Mount Rushmore of WWE? Or are you...
Accept that you could not.
Yeah, or you could be Kevin Owens, right? You could be like literally a guy with so much... Oh, man, that's harsh. But there's so much potential, and it's suddenly, literally, within a couple of months, you're mid-card, right? And you may always end up as mid-card.
I might have to hate you so much right now.
Well, you've been hating me for weeks saying all this shit about fucking Kevin. And it hurts me too. It's like I'm basically stabbing myself on stabbing you and see how funny it is, sort of thing. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing of it there. Like, I do think some people look at themselves and they were like, I'm happy staying at NXT. We're now a touring brand. And maybe Balor can say, look, I'm an indie darling. You'd actually get more out of me keeping me on NXT and drawing money for you on that brand rather than calling me up. And maybe there's some weight to that. But I'm not exactly going to shun him. I'm not going to say, well, you should give it a go, because it literally is just such a minute chance, even if you are the person that can actually get to that point. If you're the person with all the ticks, I say about that criteria, right? They tick all the boxes. It's still such a minute chance, because Vince, he's not going to make anyone above John Cena while John Cena's there, right? And even if John Cena goes away, then suddenly it's everyone's got a shot, and all you have to do is not die like Matt's doing currently at the moment.
I
That's always
apologize for that.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Mr. Jordan, thanks for giving us the questions. We do enjoy answering them. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all really want to say about that. I mean, that's basically, I've kind of gone to your way of thinking more about this, Matt. When we talked about this, I've kind of jumped the fence a little bit and gone your side of it.
It's fine. It has to be done, and sometimes I speak sense.
Yeah, right. You speak so much sense that you've got in my mind like a fucking mind ninja, and I'm starting to think a bit more your way. Yeah. Especially NXT being the touring brand and coming over in London, and us being there in London very soon. Etch that in there a little bit. The Vintage Punk asks if we have considered expanding the NXT report card to the WWE report card. Interesting question. I think the main reason that we did the NXT report card initially was because it would be along the lines of we're evaluating how good they're going to be for the main roster. And that was our main thoughts. What's their applications? How can they best be used? Along those lines. That was our main thought of it. And reviewing people that are on the main roster. I mean, there's going to be a time that me, myself, and Matt maybe think the NXT report card has gone its total thing. Maybe we'll do it. I don't know. What was your thoughts on it?
I think it could be done. But it's difficult because, like, we do the report card because it's like, what's the word? My mind has just gone completely blank.
You got a virus. You're dying, Matt. That cough. I'm worried about you now.
We do it for NXT because NXT is developmental. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
it's one of learning. So that's where you can grade if they're on the main roster. They should be as great as they can be because that's what the main roster's for.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to say on the main roster, oh, this person needs to get better at this, because it may be a point where they'll get better being like that. But I mean, Vince is using them in a certain way, like they're being booked as a certain way. In NXT, there is ways that they can improve, and on the main roster they can. It's just a little bit less. Yeah. NXT, as you say, Matt, is developmental. That's where they should be getting better. So that's where the report card came in. if it does go down there eventually, myself and Matt maybe would go out. Maybe we'll do an indie report card. That might be interesting. Talk about some of the indie stars that we've been looking at that week. I think that may be a little bit more interesting than the WWE report card would be. Anything else you want to bring over about that?
No, I've got really nothing else to add.
All right. We'll talk about Lana next. Enzo DaCosta, who's been sending us plenty of questions over the last couple of weeks, which we do appreciate, of course. His question is, do we agree that WWE have ruined Lana's character completely by turning her into a giggling blonde and putting her with Ziggler? He's bemused why she's wearing her suit pants, but they should at least change her image before they expand her character. Just before people start stating it, he did leave this comment before SummerSlam, where she came out in all the denim. So at that point, it did make, it was viable because she hadn't got out of the suits at that point.
Yeah.
Now, just because she has changed her attire, I don't think that completely mitigates this question. I think there's still something to be said here. And I do agree with Enzo here that they have muffed up the Lana character. I think that part of the issue is, even with her changing her gear, which I do appreciate, I think it's that they don't know how to apply Lana on a week-to-week basis, right? She's very limited in the capacity that she can be used in the WWE format. She's either a manager or she's someone backstage. Because she's a character now, right? You can't make her suddenly an interviewer. It just doesn't really work. And there is more to her than that. But you have to be able to be creative with how to use these characters. And guess what? The one thing that's lacking in WWE is
creation.
Yeah, being creative, in terms of coming up with their ideas and how to use someone like this.
It's like that terrible video you sent me last night where it's just like the WWE fans and creative.
That was funny. Yeah, I did like that one.
It was really good, but just like, it's too true.
Yeah, we're telling them it's okay. It's okay. Go and do this. And like, no. Yeah, it's sort of
like, stop doing the bad thing. But the what? No.
It's like the whacking of other people's hand. Like, get away from it. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck away. I do think they failed with it. I think that something switched in their heads recently, and they kind of came up with the idea along the lines of, we don't want Lana to be the main girl, and that we heard tons of reports in regards to that. But I just think they either didn't care enough, or now they just don't know how to use her. They don't know how to apply her on a week in, week out basis. And you know what's really funny about this, Matt? If someone had come to me and said to me, with Lana and Rusev breaking up, Rusev would look better from it, I would have slapped the taste out of their mouth and said no.
Yeah.
If they'd done it, they would have been right. I would have been absolutely shocked. I thought Rusev's not doing that great anyway, but he's doing better than Lana is, definitely, without any question. And maybe that's something. Maybe, like I said, his injury helped him. Even though he was on the show each week anyway, but still, I'm a little bit ashamed. I don't think she's going to go anywhere with Ziggler. If she's going to go anywhere upwards, it'll be away from the guy. It's no bad on him. I just think that WWE would be quite happy just to leave her in that role and kind of forget about her. She'll be fine there. It's okay. Are you under the general sort of consensus with Lana? I mean, like, how would you use Lana?
I genuinely don't care what they do with Lana nowadays.
But you did care before. I think that's the WWE.
That's probably the most telling thing, is the fact that it's like all of a sudden, like, meh.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Especially, I know since sort of SummerSlam, she's like debuted, like she's the fun American girl sort of thing now, but it's like, this is a problem.
Yeah, because they wanted to change that character, but they did none of the basis for being able to do it. And like I said, I think that that my opinion of her went quite negative when she was on commentary recently, and she did a fucking piss poor job. I mean, it was really bad. I don't think she understood what her role should have been at that point. Titus O'Neil could teach her, a couple of lessons on how to be good on commentary, but I think there's applications there. I think you can use her. She is obviously she's an actress by trade, but I think you can do more with her. But I don't think that. To be honest, I don't think they care. I don't think they care about her. Rather than, I think it's more of a thing of they couldn't understand a quick way of using her. So in the end, they were like, shit, yeah, fuck it, we'll just do this with her. You know?
Whatever.
Yeah, so that's the way of it there. Alex from Wrestling Boom says that he hates seeing the likes of Ivelisse and Sexy Star take hits in the ring, but likes it when they dish them out. I wanted to bring this up in our thoughts because I think this is an interesting thing to talk about, considering that this is a common thing. I hear even some wrestling podcasters say the same thing. That they don't like the women being hit by the men. And I think it's something along the lines of maybe it's down to the way you're brought up. We're in a transitional change of the way that women and men are perceived, you know. I don't want to go the WWE route of going Ronda Rousey and just say her name hundreds of times and hope that kind of gets over with.
Do you care about her yet? Why don't you care about her? Ronda Rousey.
I'll get to Ricardo's question just after we've answered this one, okay? So, yeah, myself, I look at it in the lines of, in Lucha Underground, they do it quite well. They state that the women and the men are on equal ground and they are of equal power in that sense. Right?
Yeah.
And myself, in this day and age of strong women, I actually don't have a problem with them taking bumps. In fact, I actually have a lot of respect for the likes of Sexy Star taking some of the bumps that she takes, right? And getting involved in the men in such a physical capacity. Fair play to them. And I tell you what, also, this is some of the thing that gets glossed over a lot. Fair play to the guys for putting their masculinity aside and selling properly to these women, because they could very easily just be dicks about it and be like, be unprofessional. They could very easily do that, but they're not. They're choosing.
What? Put over a woman? Get off.
Yeah, fuck off, right? This is you may hear fucking Greg the Hammer Valentine's comments about it. That's how a lot of wrestlers.
Oh, that old bastard.
Yeah, right. And I don't have much of a problem with it. I'm not gonna shit on people for thinking otherwise, because it is a way that you were brought up. I mean, I was lucky that I was brought up around a lot of powerful women who didn't have a problem getting up in guys' faces, right? So to me, it's not that much of an issue. But if someone brought up where women are treated a certain way, as I said, I mean, this whole sort of decade is especially now these last couple of years, for straight and gay, for black and white, for men and women. The equality, and I love it, by the way. The equality is a big thing that's happening at the moment, but it is a transitional thing. The older generation are going to think the way they think because they've been taught that way for years upon years, and now it's going to change. It's going to take a couple of years for everyone to kind of get on the bandwagon. People saying that women don't have a place in wrestling are wrong, no matter what age they are. But for people feeling uncomfortable about seeing them getting wrestling with men, I'm not going to shit on people for thinking that way. I don't. What about you, Matt? Are you more like Alex, or are you like myself?
I was originally more like Alex, but I'm okay with it.
It grew on you.
It grew on me. Yeah. And it's kind of the one thing with it's kind of the same could be said for all of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
It's always been one of those things where it's like, in time, it will be fine.
Yeah, like I said, eventually people's perceptions will change, and like I said, it's just a gradual thing. It's something that you have to learn yourself over a period of time. But no, I'm not going to feel bad for anyone feeling that way. As long as they're not saying, "Oh, I feel so uncomfortable. This shouldn't be happening. It's awful." Then I'll say to them, "Look, your perception's a bit skewed." But that's just my point. That's my opinion. Right? If you don't like it, don't watch Lucha Underground. And that's not what Alex is saying here, by the way. It's just saying that he feels a little bit uncomfortable. That's fine. All right, let's get to this question. Ricardo and Jordan, has added on it there. If TNA is going to get closed down like WCW, which knockout diva, if any, should WWE NXT try to sign? I think maybe Gail Kim. If Gail Kim got an offer from them, she probably wouldn't go. That's my honest opinion, considering the things that were done before.
To have Gail Kim return to WWE, it would be a proper sort of like tail between legs moment, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Gail Kim's, a proud woman, and I think that she would do fine on the indies, personally. I don't think it'd be too much of a problem with her. Which diva should they try and get? I don't know, personally. It's because it's sort of along the lines of what fits their, their what WWE want. It's not so much like which woman is good enough, because believe me, there's women, especially in TNA, there's women good enough to be in WWE. It's whether or not WWE. I mean, the answer is should they get. I think if you're looking for a girl that looks great and can go, I think Taryn Terrell, as much as Matt's had his Twitter back and forth with that particular woman before, I think that she's probably a good pickup for WWE. I know she's been in WWE before, but I mean, things change and a lot of time has happened since what I think is quite a small thing that happened back then. I mean, I don't want
to... Which was beating up her other halves, you mean?
Right, yeah. I mean, that maybe that's a poor choice of words, but what I mean is that happened so long ago, and people don't really associate that unless you are someone like myself and Matt who know that history. Wrestling fans, wrestling fans that look beyond the veil, as I like to call it. And it happened so long ago, people probably wouldn't even recognize. I mean, she was on the ECW brand anyway, the remade ECW brand. People wouldn't even fucking know what happened with her, right? So maybe her. WWE should try and get Gail Kim, really, because she is that good. And if you want to have great women's matches, can you imagine the likes of Sasha Banks against Gail Kim? Fucking hell, that could be good stuff right there. But WWE wouldn't. Well, sorry.
That could work, and that'd be great.
Yeah, but WWE wouldn't use her that way. That's just the bottom line bit there. I still think WWE was stupid, even though the whole thing with Karma happened. Awesome Kong, as she's known, she's gone back to TNA. I would try and get her back. Honestly, I thought that she
she can destroy the Bellas.
Yeah, sure, do it. I've got.
What's the fact that she finished on a story?
Yeah, I always thought that was
the last thing she said was like, "And when I come back, I'm coming for you."
Yeah. I thought it was a bit of a shame because I thought there was a lot of potential there, especially in WWE, and I was excited for her to be around. So maybe someone like that, and man, there could be some very interesting matches. I'd like to say. And to add on that question, you said that would WWE ever buy TNA's tape library and show it on the network? They would, but only for people that they've signed back. So like you're looking at the likes of Sting, maybe Christian. I think that's the only thing that they would be interested in. But yeah, sure, they might. Joe, yeah, they might make an offer. Sure, it might make stuff for their network. I have no. I honestly do think they'll make an offer, and they'll probably make the best offer TNA will get. But yeah, I mean that's an interesting question right there. If I were TNA, I'd sell it to anyone. Doesn't matter if it's WWE. You're not going to get back in the wrestling business again. Not the likes of Dixie Carter. I don't think anyone's going to take that management back again over the stuff that they've done. They're the ones that have driven that company into the ground, not the wrestlers. Absolutely. So that's the bottom line over there. All right, on to the next question that we have that we picked up before the show. Crimson Omega says that the Undertaker's new desire, his revenge, his true act of revenge against Brock Lesnar, is to cost Lesnar his ability to ever reproduce again by constantly kicking him in the nuts. That's some deep revenge right there. I imagine a certain Sable isn't too happy with the likes of that happening. I mean,
Is the picture meant to be?
No, it's to the question. This is just a flippant comment, man. We're getting there in the end. Calm yourself down. Calm yourself.
Okay, I was just sort of like, the picture's not associated.
All right, Matt. I'll get there. All right. He asks two questions, but I picked the one that I thought was interesting the most, which was, if John Cena was never in WWE, would Roman Reigns, there you go, Matt, there too.
Okay.
Would Roman Reigns have gotten such a negative reaction? If they had booked him the same, my answer is yes. And the reason for this, I'll let you go, Matt. Matt, first. You answer this first. What do you think? If John Cena was never around, never existed, would Roman Reigns, being booked the same, had gotten such a negative reaction?
I don't think he would.
You don't think he would?
No, I don't think he would.
Okay, go on.
Just purely because. Actually, can I change my answer?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because now that I think about it, because if they weren't going to push Cena down our throat, they'd have pushed someone else down our throat.
That's exactly my answer. There you are. Yeah, my answer would have been Vince would have found someone else to book someone exactly the way they did Cena. And I think it's a bigger question to ask. Well, what if you'd never had anyone booked the way Cena was booked? I think that's a really strange question.
Then someone else will be booked.
Right? It's like, but that's the way Vince would have booked it. He wouldn't have done it any other way.
That's
right?
it.
That's just the bottom line. But yeah, he would have found some other person that had I'm not going to call John Cena good. I don't see the appeal of John Cena in terms of looks anyway, right? But
I need a new Hogan, damn it.
Basically, yeah, he needed a new Hogan, right? And he chose John Cena to be that guy. He did great for Vince. I'm sure Vince is very happy on the return that he got from John Cena. But if it wasn't John Cena, he would have found someone else. I honestly think that's the way it would have been. And there's some things about Roman Reigns. If he had been booked the same, even without anyone being booked like John Cena, like people still would have got into Daniel Bryan, right? And then the way they booked the Royal Rumble was a fucking shit fest. So yeah, people would have been annoyed with Roman Reigns. But and especially this day and age, if you book the Roman Reigns even without Cena around, people would have started thinking, this guy is just manufactured, right? I don't think it's so much that he's the next John Cena. I think that is part of it, but I think also the fact that he's being shoved down our throats, right?
Her throats? Where were you going with that?
I don't even want to know, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people who would love Roman Reigns being shoved down their throat, but that's a shameless pay-per-view.
I was going to say, you dug yourself into a nice little hole there.
I did a bit, didn't I, really, to be honest? Yeah, I honestly think he would have been received, maybe not as negatively, but still.
I need to get my head out of the gutter now.
You do a little bit. And while you're there, tell us what the hell happened in Sabu's hotel room. No, don't tell us. We don't want to know. We don't want to know. All right, I'm going to grant myself a quick live drinks break, and then we're moving on to our Raw review. I'd like to thank everyone else everyone that's been sticking along with the show so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it. We know some people, it's hard to catch it there live. I'm actually sweating. It's really hot over where I am. What about you?
I insisted on the fan being on before we started, so I'm good at the moment.
So you're doing fine.
I'm doing good.
I should have done the same thing.
My fresh supply of drink as well.
Yeah. I hope everyone that's been watching the show live is having a great time. I hope we're doing well for you. We have put a lot of work into the show. We'll get to our Raw review. Very interesting Raw review there for you guys as well. And like I said, feel free. If you're watching this, by the way, afterwards, because it does record it, then you can leave questions below and we'll get to them as usual. It'll just come up like a normal video, I think, anyway. It's the first time we've done this, so going on those lines. The worst thing is as well, I got a massive headache before the show, but the good thing is painkillers exist, which is always a good thing. So
I had a massive headache, but that's okay. Drugs.
It is indeed. What some people don't know is that when we do the show, the amount of water I go through, because I switched from Pepsi to water because there's been too many ones where I've been stupidly drinking Pepsi, and then I wonder why my throat is like ripped at the end of the show, and then I was like, because I'm drinking Pepsi, you penis. So yeah, I've started drinking water.
I have chosen Lipton.
Lipton.
I'm on iced tea.
Iced tea. Well, how cultured.
Peach flavored iced tea.
That is incredibly cultured of you.
Not fishing for sponsors or nothing, but
literally on the episode 100.
Any bottle is accepted.
We're open for sponsorship, people. That's the way we are. All right, let's get to the Raw review. I've had sufficient rehydration, going on for the rest of the show there. This is the Raw straight after SummerSlam, the two controversial finishes that came out of that show. And this is the third of 3 shows that WWE has sold out from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So that is quite an achievement, actually. I think we kind of we haven't given WWE their props, actually, for actually selling out. I mean, 3 shows in a fairly decent sized arena, back to back in 3 days.
Yeah,
that's actually.
Well, I think they say sell out, but I think they didn't fully. I don't think they opened everything up for NXT and for Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were sort of like, there's a ring of seating up there, but we won't need that tonight. It'd be fine.
Yeah, just corner off sort of thing. But I mean, even then, even if that is the case, that's still really good business by WWE. Like that.
Oh, definitely.
Like you basically what they did is that they did what every wrestling promoter doesn't want to do, right? They don't want to oversaturate in the same building. You're not going to get all the fans coming, but they still did great business. So great for WWE. They did great business in that particular thing. Now the show starts with a video that was taken earlier on in the night, and it's got Triple H and Seth Rollins celebrating his double championship victory, the first WWE champion and United States champion. Triple H says, you're no longer, apparently by winning the US title, not the WWE title, mind you guys, the US title, that makes you the man. Right. Yeah. So apparently that's the belt to win if you want to be the man and not the future.
I mean, Cena would refer to himself as the face, the man who runs
the face that runs the place.
The face that runs the place, yeah. So I guess that does make you the man.
Yeah, the way my whole thing about it is that, like, if you win the WWE Championship, you can't call yourself the future. You've won the biggest prize in the company.
I'm the future, but I'm better than everyone.
Yeah,
right. This says so.
Yeah. So, like, that's what I thought about. I thought it was weird, but like I said, apparently now winning the US Championship, that's what makes you the man. So, still, they show the statues of some of wrestling's finest. You got San Martino, the Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, along those lines. Mm-hmm. And Triple H says, "You know what? I'm going to unveil your statue on Raw tonight." They've made it, which I thought was wow, considering he couldn't have won. And then, like, a statue takes more than like a couple of hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, welcome to kayfabe, kids.
I know, right? It's like, wow, the people that made those statues, they could whip him up fucking quickly, can they not? Jesus. Or either WWE would have paid for it. And I just thought it was crazy, but still. All of that, like I said, all that craziness aside, they hug a bit, which is lovely. I'm sure they enjoyed it. And nice to see a bit of bro hugs at the start of the show. And I tell you what, I actually thought it was all right to see the program start off in a little bit of a different notion, actually having a taped segment start off the show.
Yeah.
You don't often have that nowadays, so I thought that was fine. To actually kick off the show in the arena, we had a pissed off Brock Lesnar. Oh, yes. And there ain't too many ways better to kick off a Monday Night Raw than having Brock Lesnar looking like
having an angry Lesnar and an angry Heyman.
Right. And Lesnar's looking as if he wants to eat someone, right? And that's just the way it is. And we said back on our review of SummerSlam that really, if you look at it, the only person that unequivocally wins out of that finish is Paul Heyman. Because all the things he could say about that finish, he'd have given him 3 hours right there. I will agree with him when he says he's got 3 hours of material. He probably could do it, right? He says that the record books will state that The Undertaker beat Lesnar, but the truth is The Undertaker tapped out. And he goes on to show the footage of Taker doing said tapping out.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's difficult to watch Taker tap out and learn that his myth of immortality is just a fable. And I was like, oh, here we go, motherfucker. It's going to get better. Oh, it's going to get good.
Strap yourself in. Heyman's pissed.
Yeah. He says Taker was like a school kid getting his ass kicked in the fetal position, just begging for it all to stop. And I'm there going, oh, bring it on. Yeah. Just waiting for more stuff. He points out the timekeeper, the timekeeper that apparently thought he had more power than any timekeeper ever. Yeah. And says that he had the compassion because Brock Lesnar was about to rip off the Undertaker's arm if it went on any longer. And when he says along the lines of, I do have 3 hours of material, literally every single fan just started chanting yes. They just want Heyman for 3 hours.
Like he can do a 3 hour promo. I'll sit through that.
I'll take that. And yeah. Actually, talking about Heyman a little bit, I actually went back and watched that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. What a documentary that is!
That's so good.
That is so good. He wants. He says Taker can shoot it out with anyone in the locker room, but not Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, the only guy that won't stand for that crap. And Lesnar says, he says that for Lesnar, that he wants to fight Undertaker again, and he doesn't want it at Mania. Doesn't want it at Royal Rumble. He doesn't even want it at Survivor Series. Doesn't want it a week from now. He wants it right there on Raw. And that capped off a fucking
cue the cheers.
Right. All the listen, like Paul Heyman, literally since WrestleMania 30, not WrestleMania 30 so much, because after that he was doing all the stuff trying to remind everyone about the streak. But I mean, after he's got clear of all of his other people that he was managing, has been on fucking fire. Right? He really has. More so the month before WrestleMania 31. That was when things started really getting, like, as in we started really. You couldn't disagree with Heyman doing that good, right? Because it was plain to see, and he's been doing great since then. Now, Undertaker doesn't come down. In fact, he wasn't on the show. The person that does come out, unfortunately for him, is Bo Dallas.
Oh.
He comes to the ring, and I thought then that maybe that was a sign that Bo Dallas has brain damage, and someone from the asylum should have maybe, just slapped a needle in him and said, look, we'll take you back, because obviously you're crazy, right? We'll take you back to the asylum. You don't have to get hurt. And they just take him off to the back, put a straight jacket on him, and he can laugh and say about inspiration while he gets, fucking driven back to whatever asylum he came from, right? Because you have to be brain dead to go and do this.
Just a whole heap of dumb.
Right. And even on his wiki page after this segment said that Bo Dallas died due to multiple German suplexes by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yeah, that's great.
Yep. And yeah, that literally is it, because that was.
But I saw a video package where they were like, "He will be remembered."
But I mean, he comes in with a mic saying that Brock must have dreamed about beating Taker, while he was put to sleep by said dead man, and he can win against Taker, but all he has to do is Bo leave. Those were the last words Bo Dallas ever said before Brock Lesnar annihilated the man. Like, literally 5 German suplexes, I think. No, he came back and did one more, I think, and then an F5. JBL actually did a great line here. I'm kind of pinching myself as I say this. He had a great line where he says, "I would tell you to run, Bo, but you can't move." I laughed a little bit at that. I was like, yeah, that's quite funny. An F5 onto just for Heyman. Heyman stops him and says, "Look, just give me one F5, just one F5." And Brock, I tell you what, Brock's a great friend, right? His friend asked him, give him an F5, and just for him, just for poor Heyman, just gives him an F5. He gives poor Bo Dallas an F5 here. That's a good friend there, right? Matt, are you?
That he is willing to hurt someone?
Yeah.
For the sake.
Matt, you are my best friend. I'll say that here on this show. And if you're really a good friend, you need to give Bo Dallas a choke slam for me. Can you do that for me?
I'm sure I could. I could look into that.
Because you're a good friend, I think you could do that. All right. I would appreciate that. As long as you film it so I can enjoy it. Okay.
Oh, no.
What?
I should have mentioned this as part of news.
Go on.
Discovered a terrible thing on TMZ.
What?
I don't know whether you can take it as, rule because it's TMZ, but there is a video thing attached to it.
Go on.
Hulk Hogan is not mad at the WWE for cutting ties and says he wants to make America great again by running with Donald Trump.
What?
I'm a racist, but I'm going to run for president with a racist.
That has to be bullshit.
Brother!
I know he said that he was going on to Good Morning America to talk about his sex tape thing that's going, because that's going to court soon, right?
Yeah.
What? If that is the case, then he basically killed any chance that he's gonna. That's ridiculous to me. Or either he's just saying, well, I'm not going to convince anyone else that I'm actually not racist, so fuck it. I'm just going to say I am and try and get the most out of it, sort of thing. If that is true. I'm
going to watch the video file.
That is bonkers. That's crazy. I wonder if anyone else listening now has actually heard of that. That is crazy, right? Let's get in. Carry on with the review while Matt does his journalistic responsibilities in terms of finding out exactly what the fuck is going on in Hulk Hogan's head. Lucha Dragons versus the New Day. Primetime players are on commentary, not too pleased at losing their championship the night prior, which I was quite happy about because WWE has a tendency to make these people go along the lines of, "Oh, I don't mind, if I've lost the belt, and John Cena's like the poster boy for doing stuff like that." So, Big E gives Xavier Woods a big introduction, and he comes out with a trombone. Oh, yes. And he's not, I don't think he's that good with it. It didn't seem like he was that good. But they started singing New York, New York, but instead of New York, New York, obviously they were singing New Day, New Day. And they said stuff along the lines of, this town is trash, and, all the usual heel stuff, which, of course, got "This is awesome" chants from the Brooklyn crowd, which I thought, okay. I guess you're appreciating it, but they just
Heels are over.
it's like they just trash talked your city, and you booed them when they did it. It's a little bit like, what? Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Well, to be fair, it's kind of a problem with New Day.
what do you
I
mean?
really like New Day.
Since they became heel, yeah, it's just so much fun to have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're gonna hate them? You're meant to hate them. They're heel.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're good. No, they're heel. Oh,
But they're actually entertaining now. I want to see them. Yeah, but JBL asks primetime players, they're like, oh, why aren't you happy? They remind him of the obvious fact of, they lost their championships.
why aren't you happy? Because they've got our belts. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think Darren Young said, we've been trying to get that for like 5 years, something along those lines. And I'm like, come on, JBL, come on. Like, that's a really idiotic thing, but it's JBL. Match doesn't last too long. New Day get the win. They use their tag team finisher on Kalisto, pick up the victory there. They start celebrating in only the way that New Day can. And then when it looks like it's about to just go off into a backstage segment or just change or maybe have an advertisement break, the Dudley Boys come on out.
Cue fireworks. It's Dudley time.
I was a little bit sad at first they didn't have their actual entrance theme that even Bubba Ray used at the Royal Rumble when he had that.
That's true.
When he had that appearance, and suddenly we know the reason why Bubba Ray, didn't work too much with TNA after he did that like one appearance or whatever. After going back to them, because WWE gave up the call and said, you know what, do you want to come back? Do you want to bring Dev on? And he was like, fuck yes, fuck TNA, I'm gone. So yeah, that was pretty much.
That's it. Like we can bring you back. Like that's not a problem.
Yeah, I will say, Matt, when you get a lot of people that come back, for instance, the New Age Outlaws, I'm not going to say anything bad towards them. They were in the shape that I would expect someone that hasn't been wrestling for a while to have been in. They couldn't go that long. Some of the matches they would make a few mistakes. I'm not going to lambast them for that. But sometimes when you get people that come back, it's just natural. They're not as good as they were when they left, right? I thought, and maybe it's a little bit too early to say this because we only saw them in a very, we saw their highlight reel basically. I thought the Dudley Boys, when they took out the New Day, did their "What's up" and did the their finisher through the table, right? The 3D. I thought these guys looked in tremendous shape. I thought they looked just as good, and especially in Bubba or Bully Ray, as people would know him from TNA. I thought he looked just as good, if not better, than what he's been before. Yeah. So with that in mind, I think it's obviously along the lines of, they spent some time in TNA, have the Dudleys. They got inducted to the TNA Hall of Fame, which I think is quite hilarious. And now they're back in WWE, right?
Where there's the actual Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right.
Like,
by the way, I do expect them to get inducted. The Dudleys.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
In fact, JBL was instantly hinting on it when they came back. It's like they'll definitely go in there. They're like one of the greatest tag teams ever, which is true.
Yeah, right. But they looked great. I mean, like I said, I honestly think that they're going to surprise a lot of people with the quality of matches they can still pull off, because they're still ring hardened. They haven't ever really stopped, right? They've just carried on, kept working.
Yeah, like the only thing that's sort of changed for them is the banner draped down the side of the ring.
What do you mean?
Well, they've still been active.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, literally, yeah. It's like, yeah, the only thing that's changed for them is what company they're working for. Yeah,
that's it.
Been along the same lines. And it's awesome because they're one of my Attitude Era favorites, the Dudley Boys, and they did great work then, and I think they're going to do great work now. And it's no shock that they're back. And guess what's in a couple of months' time? TLC.
Yeah. Ooh,
I don't think that's too much of a coincidence.
delicious.
Yeah, I think we could be looking at a New Day, Dudley Boys, maybe another team, and they try and recreate some of the magic that they had with the likes of Edge and Christian and the Hardys. So maybe that's something that they're looking at doing. But I think that's a great acquisition for WWE. I think you've got a team here that can pass on a lot of experience to these new teams, and you've got some teams coming up from NXT. I think there's a lot of wisdom to be passed on from those guys.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, in terms of the moment, being a fan, it was an awesome surprise. I was not expecting it, and it was a real what the fuck moment. And they were back, and it was awesome. And I'm sure there's a lot of our fans that really enjoyed them coming out and doing what they did. I think that was an awesome thing for them to do. But like I said, TLC. I think you're going to be seeing a tables, ladders, and chairs match with the Dudleys involved in it, or a tables match at the very least. I mean, Jesus. I mean, at the very least, you'd expect them to have at least have a tables match. It's the Dudleys, right? When they made the tables, ladders, and chairs thing, they were the tables.
It was the fact that, it was just like, oh yeah, that's the whole reason there are tables in a TLC match. But it was that moment where Devon was shoved, and this Bob was just like, Devon, and then that's it. It's like that's all he had to do. Not even too sure he even said Devon.
Yeah.
It was just like he was shoved. And the crowd knows what comes next.
I know, right? And that's the perfect crowd to do in front of, by the way. The Brooklyn crowd. Like, come on.
That's it. Like if it can't be Chicago, it can at least be Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So or Philadelphia if it's for
or Philly, yeah. Actually, to be fair, for them it would probably best be Philly.
Be Philly, they're like the biggest thing. But still, yeah, as I said, Brooklyn's a great crowd to do it in front of, and they did enjoy it. So awesome stuff, and I'm sure it's going to shake up the division a little bit. And I'll tell you what, the tag team division is looking a little bit healthier now. I will say with that, even more healthier with the Dudleys.
With one addition of the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, but even then, you've got some other teams being brought in. You've got the Lucha Dragons and stuff like that. I mean, Los Matadors can go in and go away for all I really care. But they still got other teams.
I wonder if we'll see Spike.
I doubt it. I heavily doubt it. But
poor Spike Dudley.
Poor Spike. Hell, if we see Stacy Keibler back in that Dudley stuff, man, I'll be happy to see her back. She was with those Dudley short shorts. I'm not too abject away from that myself. So they show media reports on John Cena's 500th wish for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm sure there's a few of our fans that have voiced their displeasure on this sort of stuff being so heavily promoted by WWE. Myself, when it comes to this, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm just going to say that Cena as a man, as a guy, is a stand-up guy, no matter which way you look at it. I think.
Yeah, that's it. It's like as much as we hate Cena, like it goes back to that. Just because we don't like to see him wrestle doesn't mean we don't respect him.
Yeah, like there's no denying that he's brought a lot of kids that are struggling, with health issues, more than likely. Some very, very happy memories that more than likely, considering, the some of the terminal nature of some of these kids doing the Make-A-Wish stuff, that may be the last happy memory that they have. I was going
to say, it sounds like a bit like, dude, they have to be terminal for it to be Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately.
So, a lot of these kids probably don't survive. So their last huge happy memories meeting John Cena. I mean, that's something really, really cool. So, yeah, fair play to Cena. Like I said, we don't like how you're used, but I'm guessing as a guy, I could probably have a beer with John Cena, actually, and honestly get on with the guy. John Cena the man, I have much different thoughts of John Cena the man than John Cena the character. John Cena the character I have no time for. John Cena the man, stand-up guy, I'm sure he is. You have to be to take that much time. I mean, come on, that's over a year. If you look, man, I'm sure he's going to hit 2 years, like of just doing, the Make-A-Wish stuff,
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So back to the show. Triple H and Stephanie are amazed at the statue of Seth Rollins. They kind of show it off. It looks like it obviously it looks like it's a prop because that's what it is, right? It's not really a statue. And actually, funnily enough, I thought it looked more like Miles Kennedy, the lead singer of our band at Autobridge that we like. Right?
True.
I actually thought he looked more like that, to be honest. But I tell you what, I appreciate them at least showing it. I did say at least it was a rush prop, but they could have just had it under a thing and never shown it, right? So at least they to go with what happened later on, that helped it. You know, that actually seeing it there, not having just the veil up behind it.
At least, like, yeah, it's here, but no peeking.
Yeah.
Like, is anything even there?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. There's totally a statue behind this.
Yeah. I appreciate it from WWE. They could have easily have just gone, fuck it, we'll just have it behind it. I appreciate it. I'll say that. Rollins comes in. He thanks Stephanie and Trips for being in charge. You know, says he couldn't have done it without them being in charge of the show. And then they all go on to place their tongues on each other's buttholes. That's right. It's a live episode, man. I'm bringing back all the old lines. Oh, yes. What other time is there to do it? Exactly.
Very true.
Very true. Ambrose Reigns versus Harper and Wyatt. Yes, that's right. They're doing the rematch again because it's funny how commentary kind of try and explain it, but it's the way they explain it is kind of like, oh, you know, that SummerSlam match was just a battle in a long war. And it's kind of their way of admitting that match meant absolutely fuck all. That's the way I took it. You know, oh, it's just a battle in a long war. What's the long war for? Why are they fighting? I still don't know.
So what was the point?
Yeah. You've got 3 hours on every single Raw. You could at least... This is the problem I have with some of these rivalries that they're built up. That they're for nothing, right? They're kind of... The word I've always used with Wyatt is inconsequential. And it applies to everything here. So that's the bottom line of it. This was an interesting match, though. Not so much for the match. The match was okay. Reigns looks like he's got Wyatt set up for the spear. And then a guy shows up because the lights go out, comes back on, and he's got a black sheep mask.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the opposite of what a certain Eric Rowan would be sporting.
What's happened to Eric Rowan? It's the one thing that I'm so confused about. Like, I have no idea where he's even gone.
Well, he is injured. Right? I know he's injured.
Okay.
He's injured, but I thought that... I don't know how bad he is, but I thought there might be a chance that he would be showing up at SummerSlam, but obviously he's just not ready, right? Or he is ready and they just don't think... Like, I always thought that he was the weakest out of the three, so maybe they're thinking we just don't want him involved. I always thought that was a bit strange. I honestly think...
That's it. Like, we've got Bray, who's the charismatic leader. We've got, Harper, who's the talented, taller one. Do we really need a big, bald guy who's not particularly... Shit! You're massive! You'll do.
Yeah, literally, yeah, right. And that's essentially what it is here. Basically, the guy that behind the black mask, right? He looks exactly... There's no other way I can say it. And by the way, memes have already been said of this, by the way. He looks the fucking spit image of a steroided Sam from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right? He's got the face of him, but he looks like let's just say he's packed on a bit of bulk since his days in the Night's Watch, shall we say? Jesus Christ, right? He's a spit image of the guy, but he goes by the name Braun Strowman. He was Strowman before in NXT, and he hasn't been used in NXT at all, really. But in the live shows, I think he's been used in some dark matches and stuff like that. So
See, that's the thing. Like, I kept seeing people like, he used to be on NXT. Like, did he?
Yeah, you wouldn't have noticed that much before. I think that's just the. That's the thing I would say though, Matt. You're onto something there, right? Because since NXT's come around, you don't normally get to the main roster without going through NXT. Right, and having at least a stint in NXT. Kevin Owens probably had the quickest, stint in NXT to get called up to the main roster.
Oh, what, the space of, 4 months?
Yeah, literally, right? There isn't that many people. It's very rare nowadays that you get someone from developmental that gets picked, that literally gets put straight into the main roster.
Yeah.
Right? Without us even really seeing them, right? I mean, fuck it, we didn't even go to do an NXT report card on the guy, right? We never saw him. So... Obviously, he must have been handpicked, right? By Wyatt or maybe by Vince, don't know. He was handpicked, and that doesn't happen to many people nowadays. But I tell you what, at very least, I'm not saying that it shouldn't have happened, but he looks the part, right? He definitely looks the part.
Yeah,
he looks like someone that could be in the Wyatt family, and he's a fucking tanked up guy.
He's a monster.
Right.
It's the fact that it's like he gets that face to face with Reigns, and it's just like now Reigns isn't a small guy. He was the juggernaut of the Shield for a reason. But it's like shit. He's like a whole nother head taller than Reigns.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you think you're pretty big and strong. Guess what?
Yeah. Right. You know, it's and like the way that he kind of just like picked up Roman Reigns on his shoulder, I mean, you can see he's a strong guy, right? Roman Reigns ain't no small guy.
Ragdolled him. Well,
Right.
the thing is, the guy used to be like a former world strongman.
Yeah, you could tell, right? You could tell.
Yeah, so legit, he can crush you.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I think he's a good choice. I think maybe they thought he was such a good choice for this that it was fine letting him not be part of NXT. And it's not as if he's going to be wrestling singles matches. In fact, he's probably going to be
Not
their
for a
muscle.
while.
Yeah, he's going to be their muscle, and that's probably going to be it for a little while. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. To be honest, I'm not that enthused. I'm glad that Wyatt's got people behind him again, but this whole rivalry between Reigns and Ambrose, to me, it just kind of seems like it's the Shield rivalry against them, just not nearly as interesting. So that's the way about it. I mean, I remember me and Matt giggling like schoolgirls the moment we watched the match between fucking the Shield and the Wyatt family. Literally, you couldn't get the smiles off our faces, but this just doesn't hit the right chord. You know, it just doesn't. Back then, it was something.
I saw a great picture, which was just of Samoa Joe. It's like Reigns, Ambrose, you need a third. You know where I am. It's like, let's get Joe.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that would be fine. It's, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? You've got everyone in this sort of rivalry apart from Rollins and Rowan, and certainly it's not Rowan missing. That's the thing. I think that having Rollins around, you could still do it really good. You could have a reunion against these two teams. It's just not the same, right? It just doesn't hit the same chord. But if you did a full-on reunion and played up their previous battles, then I'm sure it would recapture some of that magic. Now, not so much. I'm not feeling it nearly as not even a minuscule amount as I did back then. You know, because I thought that was the best thing that happened in WWE that year. I mean, we gave it match of the year. You know, that was the first match of the year award we gave on the show, was it not?
Yeah,
it was. So yeah. So this moves on to Miz TV. Now, I've got a lot to say here. In fact, my notes are fucking extensive. I didn't realize that I had left such lengthy notes. But this segment, spoiler, sucked. And we're going to go into the reasons why it is. Because it involved the Divas Revolution, right? And there's a lot of stuff being talked about the Divas Revolution. In fact, we have the question that was asked on the live show right here just beforehand.
Yeah.
I'll go through what happens on the show, and I'm going to give my thoughts. So he's talking to Team PCB, and instantly I thought a little bit like, okay, I thought that they were going to start moving away from the teams from after SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Clearly not. WWE, I think, want to make a few more months out of this, which is counterproductive, in my opinion. Charlotte says that she knows something about teamwork, considering her father was part of the greatest team in WWE history, the Four Horsemen. Sure, I'll grant you that, but the majority of the Four Horsemen's time was outside of the WWE, so there's a little bit of a playing of the words there still. But Miz says that he took Flair's figure 4 leg lock and perfected it. Charlotte, of course, doesn't agree with that at all, considering her one does look a lot more dangerous. Miz says that he's a cross-platform, multi-time champion, and he's surpassed Flair's legacy, which is obviously all Miz being a heel, essentially, along those lines. By the way, this segment is tanking already. It tanks even more so when it gets to this point. Miz brings up that there must be some competition between the three girls. And I'm thinking, finally, maybe this is the segment that breaks away the teams and we start getting the women going, well, wait, I should be number one contender for the belt. No, I should be number one contender for the belt. And suddenly it's like, well, what are you doing? No, you could have Becky saying, I'm the one who won the match. Yeah, I should be number one contender. Charlotte going, I've won all these matches. I should be number one contender. Paige is like, I've been here the longest. I should be number one contender, right?
I started this revolution.
Right. So, but it never happened. They just basically said, look, Paige said along the lines of, I couldn't be here if it wasn't for the other two, despite being there for over a year without the other two. It's the segment nosedived at this point. And the fans at this point also started to chant against them, right? When Team Bella came out is when the crowd started going against this. And a lot of the divas actually took to Twitter and they started saying, well, Brooklyn was shit because of it. Because, you know, we're part of this revolution, you're not behind us. And when this sort of stuff happened before, I remember Sasha Banks said it along the lines. She was in the middle of a great match and people started chanting for like JBL and stuff. So she chanted, you know, we can't really do the revolution if you're being morons. That's the way we that's our translation of it, right? You know, that isn't, I just want to prefix, that isn't Sasha Banks's word. That's the way we translated it, okay? Here, I'm a little bit less defensive of the women. And here's the reason why. A lot of the fans, I think, you know, with the question we had earlier, kind of elaborates the fact that this Divas Revolution has started off with so much steam and now it's losing momentum instead of gaining it.
Yeah.
And the fans are reacting with it, right? Especially when you've got the likes of Nikki Bella saying, wins and losses, who cares? That's her word, right? And that's how management deals with this whole thing, right? Wins and losses, who cares? That's how they deal with the whole roster. Wins and losses, who cares? Guess what? It matters, wins and losses, right? It matters more than people realize. Well, people managing WWE realize.
It's the worst part is who cares? You should care.
Right? Yeah, like, exactly.
Come on.
Wins and losses, that's what we watch in week out to, you know, to view on, right? It's, you know, where's the competition, right? Miz says that PCB wrestle like a bunch of girls and this leads to a brawl. And this is where I'm going to talk about the reason why I'm not nearly as harsh on this crowd, because it was a bad segment, right? If the girls want to blame anyone, they should blame the people that booked this segment, because the segment was awful.
I wouldn't shit on the crowd for it.
Miz TV segments generally are awful, but you can't just say, listen, equality, right? If Randy Orton and Sheamus had come out and done a promo here in Miz TV and the crowd are trying against it, I'm not going to be like, oh, shit on them, or, you know, all along these lines, right? I'm not going to defend the women for having the same thing, for having a bad promo, just because they're women. Equality is, if you do something good, we'll praise you just like we praise you the men. If you do something bad, we'll slam you like we will do the men, right? That's the way it is. Right? That's what equality is. You can't take on Twitter and start going, oh, the revolution, you're not behind the revolution. Guess what? The segment sucked. There's no way of getting around it.
That's it. It goes back to sort of like, oh, you don't, like I was saying earlier, it's like, oh, you don't support our revolution. But we had like one of the best, like, you want to give it match of the year. I'm still not sold, but we had Bayley Sasha. Like, you don't support our revolution, then put on shit like you had at TakeOver, not have the Miz just go, you're just girls.
Yeah, right.
Because that's essentially the gist of what happened. Like, Charlotte, your dad gave me his lock and I made it better. Your figure eight, what the hell? And it was essentially just like, I could beat you because I am a man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the gist that I got from that whole segment. It's just like, Divas Revolution, fuck it.
I tell you what, if you want a revolution, the best thing, I tell you what, you could fix this in one thing. And made the segment Charlotte challenging The Miz to a match.
Yeah.
WWE wouldn't have done it, right? And I guess why, but like, I'm not going to get into the reasons why, you know, like, so we talked about the whole thing earlier on, and WWE aren't ready to get to that point yet, right? But that would have been awesome. Tell you what, that Brooklyn crowd would not have shit on that. They would have been like, yes, do it tonight. We want to see Miz versus Charlotte now, right? But obviously they didn't do this. What WWE are trying to do is get months out of these teams, but they're fighting each other. What to we are we're the face of this Divas Revolution. No one cares. The revolution should be for a prize, right? It should be about competition for a prize. And guess what? You already have it. It's called the Divas Championship. They should be wrestling for that title, right? And the fact is, Nikki hasn't had a fucking title match in God knows how long, right? Because, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier on.
Thanks to this revolution.
Since the revolution, we haven't had a title match. I think that's something
just
that's wrong.
putting it out there.
Yeah, right? And I honestly thought that maybe the way that they would go around it, the way I thought they'd go around it is that Paige will get the pinfall on Nikki, and then she has a legitimate claim to the championship. And it's so much that you can even have a little bit of clash between the team, and that's how you break up the team. And Charlotte says, look, I'm not going to wait behind you for the title shot. I'm genetically superior. And Paige is like, well, I pinned her. I deserve the title shot. And that's how it becomes each woman for herself, right? And then you have competitive matches where women are trying to claw over each other to become the number one contender. That's how you do.
Can we just have like get PCB and get Sasha Banks? We'll have a fatal 4-way for number one contendership.
Yeah, right. I mean, you don't even have to. That's our way of what we definitely love to do that, right? But the fact is that they're not doing. They haven't even referenced the belt. I mean, Nikki's saying, "Oh, I'm the champion." Well, guess what? You haven't fucking defended it, right?
That's it. The only reference has just been sort of like Cole, just like she hasn't got long left to beat Paige, to beat AJ. It's like, and that's it. That's the reference over.
Yeah. Now, I thought.
To quote the end of an American Dad episode, "Bye everybody." That's all it is.
Yeah, but like I thought that all the women that tweeted against Brooklyn, right? You wouldn't catch me chanting against the women, even in a bad segment like this, because I genuinely want these women to succeed. But I thought it was incredibly naive of these women to think that fans will start caring about the Divas division because WWE told them so, right? WWE spent years educating their audience to not care about the women, right? It's not going to take 2 months, well, 1 month of a revolution, and no matter times you call it a revolution, it won't be until you actually do it to make it happen, right?
It's
just not going to happen. So
it's starting to think that actually only recently, it was 15 years ago since we had Trish and Lita.
Yeah, right. I
mean, hell, 15 years ago is a while, and that's probably, the average age of a WWE fan, which makes me feel quite old right now. But
yeah, it does make me feel quite old, actually, yeah. But you know what I mean along those lines, like I've always said this before, that this whole revolution won't succeed, right, the way it's going, for one, but it won't succeed in a month. It will have to take ideally, it'll have to take a number of years to educate the audience that the divas, or the female wrestlers, as I want to call them, are worth a damn, right? And the women saying, oh my goodness, the fans trying against us, oh, it's so horrible, you're so bad. It's like, but you should be saying to WWE, well, why the fuck did you spend the last 5 years educating the fans not to give a shit? You can't tell them to care when they've cared so little so long, all along. It's really, I thought it was ridiculous, personally. And the fact is that those fans popping mad for Bayley winning the NXT Championship proves that they do care about women's wrestling. What they don't want to watch is shit segments, and it doesn't matter if you're a
what
man
they don't want is the same old bullshit.
Yeah, that's essentially that's what I'd say about it. Now, they did have a match later on. Team PCB went against Team Bella. It was okay. I struggled to stay enthusiastic about it, and the crowd did as well.
I lost interest very quickly in this match.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd kept themselves entertained with a Mexican wave, and I thought the match lasted far longer than it should have. I think
the worst part is they'll have entertained themselves with a Mexican wave, and then the crowd would have got shat on for it.
Yeah.
It's like what do you want from us?
Yeah,
we're not booing you, Jesus. We're just finding other things to do.
They were entertaining themselves, right? Because they weren't entertained with what's going on in the ring. That's just the bottom line of it. And I thought this match failed because it didn't build up in much of a crescendo. It just sort of passed everyone by.
And then all of a sudden, in comes Brie. Woo.
Yeah. Right.
Brie, it was Brie that got the win, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I can't remember.
I fucking tuned out.
Yeah.
But no, Alicia Fox got the win. Because distraction with Nikki used up.
Nikki whacked Paige in the mouth. Yeah, I remember.
And to be honest, like I said, that's our issues on the women. We wanted to succeed, but if WWE book them in shitty segments, they're shitty, no matter what gender they are. And that's the bottom line of it there. King Barrett and Stardust, well, not really, because Stardust attacks Barrett before the match can even begin.
In a bullshit segment that just made no sense.
Yeah, Neville comes out, clears out Stardust, and I'm thinking, so it's probably going to turn into a triple threat rivalry. I thought it was a waste of time. I was with you, Matt. I didn't.
No, you know the worst part is,
Go on.
Barrett's been written off for a while.
Oh, he has, isn't he? He's gonna film a movie, isn't he?
Yeah, but so all Stardust did was hit him really with he clubbed him in the back and hit him with a finish.
Yeah, apparently that writes him off for 6 weeks. Yeah,
that's a 6 week write off. But it's the power of the bell. The bell didn't ring, therefore it counts as an attack, not as a match.
Yeah.
If it was a match, then obviously Barrett would be around later on that night or next week. But no, the bell never rang.
That's it, isn't it? So that does like 10 times damage.
That's it. Right? Yeah. That's how it is. I think that's, and we should remember that whenever you go into a fight, just make sure the bell rings. Otherwise, you'll be out for a couple of weeks.
The other thing I thought was very interesting is that he's changed his Twitter back to his real name. I thought that was very interesting. So maybe something to that. We'll obviously catch you down at the time. But yeah, in terms of writing someone off television for a little while, come on, you could at least had Stardust go like mental on the guy.
Like proper, like grab a chair or something and just beat the hell out of him. Nope. One finish.
That's it. Oh. But that's the way it is. Yeah, obviously they're going to continue with the Stardust and Neville stuff. This rivalry loses a lot of its steam without the celebrity angle being involved. I'm sure they can have a great match, Neville and Stardust, but we've already seen it for one, so there's that.
Yeah, that's it.
Jon Stewart comes on out. He's going to explain his actions at SummerSlam. And I imagined WWE...
And I am a psychic.
Go on.
Because this is exactly what the excuse I said he would give.
We'll get to that in a minute. I by the way, we were quite defensive of Jon Stewart and the angle involving Jon Stewart. After this one, not so much. I'm going to go into that though. But I thought it was quite funny. I imagine that WWE expected Stewart to come out to a chorus of boos. I mean, he screwed out John Cena, but he got cheered like he's like the next coming of Jesus, right? For
like a proper returning hero, wasn't it?
Right. It's like, they may as well have just been throwing streamers at him in thanks for saving, stopping Cena. He comes out, and as you say there, Matt, the reason that he did it, he said he didn't do it for Seth Rollins or the Authority, but he just couldn't live with himself was seeing Cena tie Ric Flair's record of 16 world championships. If he was a real fan, he'd realize that Flair has more than 16. It's just the 16 WWE wish to, But that's not what WWE wants us to know. So
nothing else exists outside of the WWE. You know this.
Now, what I would have liked here, I'll explain this actually a little bit later. I will explain this point because it's been more prevalent. So when you talk about Ric Flair, guess what? The limousine riding, jet flying, suit wearing, Charlotte fathering, son of a gun, Flair comes on out. Woo! Comes on.
Woo!
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 Yeah, along those lines.
Woo!
I know you do like a good woo, Matt. You do like to woo. Not woo woo woo, but you like to woo.
I will woo 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 as well.
You will woo woo woo. Okay, that's interesting. Myself, I'll get an occasional woo woo woo, maybe.
You have woo woo wooed before.
You know it.
I do know it.
Let's do that. Flair tells Stewart that he was actually pulling for John Cena, and not to forget that that God is in the house. Sorry, Flair. Sorry, but God was in the house at SummerSlam. Everyone knows that Foley is God.
Yeah,
Mick Foley is God. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows it. Flair tells Stewart that he messed up everything, and John Cena comes on out. Cena here says he's at peace with what Stewart did to him. He's pissed off that Rollins is now a double champion. But then Stewart says, and then he kind of backtracks. This is what I didn't like with Jon Stewart here. He looks like a guy that didn't know any better. And he's like, I didn't think it through. I didn't think it through. And he tries to cut a bit of comedy. I hated when Stewart went here because now he starts acting as if he's like, he's just like he's an old man who didn't know any better sort of thing, right? He starts acting a little bit like that, right? He didn't understand. He didn't realize, oh my God, I did screw up. It's like, I would have much preferred it. And obviously, Jon Stewart hasn't got any dates with WWE going forward. That's the reason why they went this angle. But if they did, I would have made Jon Stewart be the man that actively plots and devises plans against John Cena, because he just can't live with John Cena having any more success than he currently has. Right? He's a wrestling fan, right? He did what any wrestling fan would have done in his shoes, and he's going to keep doing it. He's going to keep stopping John Cena from winning titles, right?
So basically, turn Jon Stewart heel.
Yeah, that's how I would.
Well, at least Vince would think he'd be a heel, but he would actually go down as the greatest face ever, and children will be named after him.
Yeah, right. Essentially, what I would have done with him is that I would have made it so he's not anyone's manager, but he's actively promoting people going against him.
He could be a GM.
Maybe, but obviously, maybe he's got no intention of going on like a schedule with WWE. I mean, that's pretty sure. You can tell that Stewart, he did this. But I mean, if that was the case, if it was only a point of they could only get Stewart for Raw and SummerSlam, I never would have done that finish personally. So I'm kind of saying what I did before. I mean, if they had done the finish and they're telling the story of Jon Stewart just being this guy who just hates John Cena and who do anything in his power as the celebrity he is to stop John Cena having any more success, then I would have been like, you know what? I get that finish. It makes sense. It makes something with John Cena going forward. He can have any rivalry then that he's going forward has something a little bit extra because you've got Jon Stewart involved in it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like,
I was right because I knew he would go, I am a wrestling fan. I wanted to stop him.
Yeah, but then he backtracks, mate. He's like, oh, I guess I did get it wrong. I got it so wrong. It's like,
yeah,
no.
but that's because Ric Flair comes into his face and he's like, but Rick, you're the greatest person ever.
Yeah, if I was booking it, I would make Jon Stewart, even with Ric Flair saying, you know what, I was pulling for Cena, have Jon Stewart say to his face, you don't know what you don't understand. Not even you do, right? Like, you don't even know how much it means to people. Like, that's offensive to people, right? Like really getting Ric Flair's face, even though it's Flair, the one that he's trying to protect, that's the way I would have done it, but still wasn't there. Cena gets annoyed. He gives him the AA, and Jon Stewart there kind of gets walked out with people. And then he says, to Renee Young after that segment, you know what, I'm going to speak to Rollins later on that night as well. I'm not impressed. I honestly think that they kind of fucked up this.
Yeah.
And Matt, I'll say this again. If WWE knew they only had Jon Stewart for these 2 dates, they never should have done that finish at SummerSlam. They should have just done something else. But no, that's the way they're going with it. I was a little bit disappointed, but still.
Yeah, I enjoyed it to begin with. I think we got another one of those tastes that was like, Cena can actually cut a half decent promo, and let's not forget it.
And when he decide when he's not given they're saying Cena became salty that night. He did a bit, didn't he? To be honest, yeah, from a subscriber there. But I wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. Cesaro, Ziggler, Orton, and Ryback versus Sheamus, Rusev, Owens, and Big Show. Basically, clusterfuck city, essentially. Or what I like to call all the mid-card rivalries most people don't really care about put into one match.
Yeah.
Essentially done into that. Lana and Summer Rae end up fighting, which, I mean, I didn't have to tell you that, to be honest. Like, I could do an Alberto Del Rio or Alberto El Patron and say...
But you already knew that.
You already knew that. To be honest,
I'm surprised they didn't get ejected.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the referee was going to do it. But I tell you what, I would say to I would say this to Lana and Summer Rae, but something like they should just fuck and get it over with. But I think that will excite our fans a little bit too much if I say stuff like that. So, I've already said it now. So sorry, guys.
I accept.
In unintentional bonus for you guys, Summer Rae and Lana getting it on, but still, that would be a humdinger right there. Oh yeah, I'm bringing them all out, man. I'm bringing out all the old statements. Humdinger. Oh yes.
Will that be a WWE Network exclusive?
Honestly, they would get a few subscriptions for that bad boy. I tell you that very much. Jesus. That talking blonde bombshells, it'd be a fucking atom bomb of blonde. I'm getting. We need to move on, Matt. We're going down a shameless pay-per-view.
You're getting yourself worked up, Tony.
Getting myself worked up. That's right. Orton gets the win in this match. He gets the pinfall on Sheamus that sets up their much anticipated. No, sorry, I can't do it. I was trying to. I was going to say a much anticipated rubber match, but I couldn't. Get away with that without.
And you're looking forward to it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it without smiling. I really can't. Rusev and Owens gets in Big Show's face. he did inadvertently cost them the match. So they lay him out, leaving him to the mercy of the faces, which means he takes a battering. He gets an RKO from being lifted up from Cesaro and Ryback. It was an okay match. It was a showcase. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that because it was right at the end where they were just sort of like, where everyone's like, "Yay! Where am I meant to be?" Orton, like the Cesaro, it's like, "Orton, why aren't you on the corner?" "Oh shit, yeah." Ooh, the Ziggler, like, "Where am I meant to be?" "Oh, front and center." "Okay." It's like, fucking hell, guys, get it together.
But that's all it was. It was a main event of them just mashing things together and making a main event.
Right, signature moves, finishers. Ziggler, you're getting beaten.
Really?
Well, that's pretty much all it was, because Ziggler took pretty much all of the damage in that match.
Yeah.
In true Ziggler fashion.
Yeah, because I tell you, he sells better. He bums better than all of them, and sells better than them anyway. So there is that. This leads into a backstage promo with Wyatt and Harper. They do introduce Braun Strowman. That's the first time they say his name. They call him Abigail's Black Sheep. And I tell you what, whatever Abigail feeds those Wyatt family members, they may be backwards, right? They may be from some strange place, but I tell you what, the physical specimen, they work out at least. You can tell that. So, that's it. They're all crazy and cryptic and everything, but Jesus, they do their weights. There is that. So,
do you know one terrible thing I've heard as a rumor about? They may be revealing Sister Abigail.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, but I hope it's not the case.
They can reference her. I just don't think
they could reference her, but they're looking at like actually debuting like a Sister Abigail.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, and having her come out, I think that's over the top. I think that then it takes the shine off Wyatt, right? So no, I don't like that idea. I think
because this is the thing. It's like nobody knows. Like, was Sister Abigail genuinely his sister, a woman who looked after him?
It could be it could be like it could be a religious thing. It could be an actual Sister Abigail, right?
Yeah.
Along those lines.
But then it's like, here she is. It's like, well, that's fucking ruined.
The way I would do it is that you could have like these pre-taped segments where you can allude to Wyatt maybe talking to a ghostly figure that could be Abigail. I would never have it actually show up on the show and stuff like that. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's stupid, but no, I'm with you with that. But still, we'll see. Cena is backstage with the Authority. Some security personnel walk up as Stephanie says to him, "Oh, well, we don't really want you around to mess with the statue presentation, so we're going to escort you out."
So, bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. And as we would soon learn, it wasn't Cena's moment at the end of the show. So at very least, they gave us a reason why Cena wouldn't be there. So I get it. Actually, that's to do with continuity. That actually works in WWE's favor. That actually made sense with it there. So with that, fair enough. So it leads to the final segment of the show. And one of the most interesting ones. Stephanie and Trips are out for the presentation. They load the statue in. They take all the ring ropes out and everything like that as well. They tell everyone, Stephanie and Triple H, that it's Vince's 70th birthday, and they all sing happy birthday to him, which was quite awkward, but at least it was the notion. And when Triple H says he's freaking out right now, I can imagine Vince was probably like blowing a gasket. He probably really was.
I'm not old, damn it.
I could still ride her, damn it. Well, I still laugh at that. And they talk up, they say that Rollins is a man with hustle, loyalty, and respect. But unlike someone else that we have, that we also have on the roster, has those same attributes, he's a winner. And I thought that's quite ironic because they're talking about John Cena. And basically Triple H is saying Cena loses, lol, instead of the whole Vince, Cena wins, lol, sort of thing. Yeah. So, Rollins comes out. He's happier than Ryback in an all-you-can-eat buffet. He's a happy guy. What can I say? And he says heroes will be remembered, but legends never die. And that's the whole thing. He's becoming a legend. He's having his statue unveiled. It's a big thing. It's a big thing going on. And They play up the Cena angle a lot, so much so that I did genuinely think that maybe this was going to be a Cena segment to begin with, you know?
It's like, you may have escorted me out the building, but guess what, guys? Ba, 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 ba.
It's his, it's along the lines of like John Cena can get fired in storyline, he'll still show up on the show, so it's nothing that different, right? So yeah, they do play up a lot. Rollins is talking himself up. He's saying, you know what, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. That's what I did. I beat John Cena. He was the man. And then they go on to unveil the statue. And when it goes up, there's no statue, except there is a certain man painted in the black and white. You may know him as the icon Sting, or the Vigilante, as WWE likes to call him.
Yeah.
So Sting is back. And we've been hearing tons of reports of him getting in phenomenal shape for his age, at very least, and then him not getting used. Well, he's definitely being used now, you know, and in a big match, by the way. He fights off Rollins, cleans him out of the ring with a Stinger splash, and then he grabs the WWE title and then raises it in the air. He is now the #1 contender for the title. He'll be facing Rollins at Night of Champions, Sting and Rollins. One-on-one for the championship. It will be Sting's first match ever for a WWE championship. So that in itself is a match that will draw a bit of attention. So I appreciate it because they could have very much easily have gone with the John Cena route. Funny enough, that's what they were playing up all the time. It's John Cena. They said Cena all the way throughout this.
Always hinting at Cena. It's Cena. Why not Cena? Let's joke about Cena. It's not him. Oh
yeah. Well, no, it's like, yes, yeah. It's like, it's not Cena, it's actually Sting. That's awesome. I'm a big Sting fan. You guys all know that, so I'm going to mark out no matter what. I thought it was a really cool moment. I thought, fair enough. I'm going to kind of put aside the fact that it does look a little bit silly. The fact that no one noticed that they weren't carrying a statue, but a man. And it's like Sting has the ability to fucking hide a statue that's supposed to be made of bronze. He's either very fucking strong or he's a magician. But I'll let all that go a little bit, but to enjoy the moment a little bit. I'll tell you what, the moment would have been a lot cooler. And this is the main thing that will come back to kick him in the ass. It would have been a lot cooler if Sting had beaten Triple H less than 6 months ago. It
kind of makes it difficult, doesn't it?
And like suddenly he gets beaten by Triple H, but now he's a championship contender. It is a bit odd to me, right? If he had beaten Triple H, then fair enough, because then Sting can come out and say, "I beat your mentor. I beat the guy that gave you everything. I beat him. Now I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to take the championship." Right? But now it's like, especially the ending with Triple H and fucking Sting shaking hands, it's like a little bit like, what? Like, this is a bit weird. Do you not think? There's a different way that small changes could have made this seem much better than it did. And it was already good, right? I would be honest. But the ideal way that I would have gone, I mean, it's all what ifs now. But if Sting had beaten Triple H, then I'd say fair enough. Then he's got a legitimate gripe.
It adds some legitimacy to the whole thing. But it could work. To be fair, I'm still happy for it.
Yeah, it's still a match I want to see.
Yeah,
and he does. I tell you what, guys, he looks better than he did at Mania, right? I actually think he's gonna have a better match at Mania at Night of Champions than he did have at Mania, because I think obviously Rollins is going to do most of the work, but I think Sting is going to be in better shape. I think he's going to be of a better standard than he was back then. I mean, it's only so good you can be when you haven't wrestled for so long. I know he hasn't wrestled since Mania. What I'm saying, I just get a feeling it's going to be a better match. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting match. I'm not going to lie. And it was a cool way to end the show. So kudos to that. This and the Dudley Boys stuff got me really excited. So fair play to WWE. They tried to treat this a little bit like the night after Mania, except it was the night after SummerSlam. You had some big returns, some big matches set up. So
a debut.
Bram. Oh yeah, a big day. Yeah,
Braun.
Yeah, sorry. You're getting Bran there. It's a mix between Braun and Bron from Game of Thrones. I know you're getting confused with the Game of Thrones stuff. So all in all, Matt, as we bring this live episode to a close, I thought that Raw was a pretty decent Raw because of those memorable moments. You take away Dudley's and Sting, then it relies on the ring work of the show. I didn't think the ring work was that good. The low point of the show I did think was that Divas Revolution, the Divas segment.
That was a low point.
I can't defend it. It was a bad segment, and like I said, you can tweet out that you don't like the crowd as much as you like. If you give them bad quality television, they ain't gonna like it, right?
Yeah.
Or bad quality live performance, then that's the way it is. Did you enjoy this week's Raw?
Yeah, I was quite happy with it. I can't knock it. I think it was simple enough. I can't really go, oh, do you know what? There was that one match. But no, it was good. I think it was a consistent Raw. I think it's safe to say. Yeah,
I to be honest, this is quite a big endorsement of myself. This was the quickest Raw in terms of me watching it over the 3 hours. Like some weeks, Raw being 3 hours can feel like it takes up the entire day. When I was watching this show, I was excited to see the next segment, and it's been rare that I felt that way. I don't think it's going to be that way going forward. I will say that though. But yeah, it was a Raw with some momentum. I'm not going to lie, and it had some interesting segments. Another downfall as well, as like I said, that the whole Jon Stewart stuff kind of proved me wrong. I thought WWE were going to give us something a little bit more interesting in regards to it there. But still, that's the way to go along with it. Thank you, Ricardo, for the podcast. We hope you did enjoy it. In fact, we're wrapping up now. So just to give that announcement again there, Matt, is there anything else that you want to cover before we go through our plugs and stuff like that?
No. I can't think of anything else.
No. So I'm going to give my plugs here, guys. I will say thank you to the people that joined us live. Subscriber 241, Ricardo, and Jordan that gave us plenty of questions there. And awesome for our significant others fucking shocking us over the NXT. We're going to NXT, guys. We're going to NXT in London.
It's going to be good.
And me and Matt are going to get into our bank is not going to like us for the amount of fucking merchandise we will buy, but still, that's the way it is. So, yeah, the announcement that we said earlier on, as we said, we want you guys to record 30 seconds of an intro for our show, and you can send it to the email address. It's just Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. It will be in the description once I get to it. It'll probably be tomorrow. So if you want to actually get it, down there, that's fine. But it's an introduction to our show. You can, like I said, you can do it whichever way that you like. And the winner gets the first ever Let's Talk Wrestling T-shirt, and they will be on the show. That intro will be put on the show from episode 100 onwards. Matt, what is our Twitter handle?
You mean @TalkWrestlePod?
It is @TalkWrestlePod. Jesus, so good at it. What is that? Oh yeah, obviously, if you're watching this afterwards, then like I said, if you're new to the show, the live thing that we're doing here on this show isn't something that we do all the time. It's like the first time we do it. We don't know if we will do it again. We did actually really enjoy doing it and getting your feedback and freaking you all out with John Cena's High School Sexy Adventure, which it freaks out a lot of people. So there is that. But apart from that, if you are new, then sure, then you can subscribe to the channel. You can be one of our almost 400 subscribers. I'm pretty confident we're going to hit that target before the end of the year now. That's really awesome. Thank you to everyone that caught up with the show. Is there any other plugging I need to do? I don't think there is.
No.
I think I've done it all. I'm just elongating this out. I'm having too much fun on the live episode. That's what I'm trying to do. But we need to wrap up now, guys. Thank you guys for catching all this show. We were really nervous to do this beforehand. We're going to something brand new. Did you have fun, Matt?
Oh, it was good.
I had a lot of fun.
Like I said, it was good.
It was good stuff. And you know what, guys? We will catch you next week as per regular for the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Leave us any questions if you like. And again, thank you for supporting the show. It does mean a lot to myself and obviously to Matt. All right, guys, we're going out. Have a great week, and we'll catch you all next time.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.